So 5 reasons why Minneapolis will thrive over the next 10 years. While other major cities lose Fortune 500 headquarters, Minneapolis just added more. Today, I'm breaking down 5 reasons why Minneapolis will absolutely dominate in the next decade. I grew up here. After helping over 3,600 families make smart moves here, I've watched this transformation happen in real time. And don't skip to the ending because the affordability part will absolutely shock you. So reason number 1, Minneapolis is quietly becoming a Midwest powerhouse, and I'm talking like Mike Tyson powerhouse. Most people think this is just another Midwest city trying to ride out the next downturn. But the reality is the area has 15 Fortune 500 company headquarters right here. It's the highest per capita concentration of major corporate headquarters in the United States among the 30 largest metros. We've got United Health Group, which is the 3rd largest company in America and brings in over $400 billion in revenue. Target keeps its downtown headquarters with about 35,000 Minnesota workers. Even with all the retail chaos going on everywhere else, US Bancorp is the 7th largest bank in America and the biggest one in the Midwest. Here's what really matters, however. If you own a home and you're thinking of making a move, the Minneapolis-St. Paul area ranks as the 17th most diverse economy out of all US metros. No single industry makes up more than 18% of the jobs. When one sector takes a hit, we don't fall apart like Detroit did with cars or Houston does every decade or so with oil. Healthcare, finance, manufacturing, education, and tech are all strong here. There isn't a weak spot in the entire mix. And you know what's going to surprise you when we get to the pricing breakdown? This kind of economic strength actually makes this city more affordable than smaller markets, not more expensive. So even more important, employers don't pick up and leave. Take the Mayo Clinic as an example. It employs 57,000 people statewide and recently announced a $5 billion, that's a billion dollar expansion in Rochester that's expected to create around 40,000 new jobs by 2035. When you have this level of an employer stability, homeowners don't rush to move. Workers at major healthcare, financial, and manufacturing companies move 40% less than the national average. So that creates housing demand that doesn't disappear when parts of the economy get shaky. And that economic foundation sets up exactly what we're seeing next with anchor institutions. Anchor institutions are large, long-term employers that are deeply rooted in the region. These are organizations that don't relocate when the economy shifts. They're built into the fabric of the city. Think major hospitals, universities, corporate headquarters, and government facilities. They matter because they provide steady careers, not just short-term jobs. People build their lives around them. They buy homes, stay longer, and plan for the future instead of moving every few years. In Minneapolis-St. Paul, anchor institutions don't just employ tens of thousands of people, they create stability, housing demand stay consistent, neighborhoods grow around them, and the market doesn't panic when the economy slows down. But before I dive deep into that, there's something important you should know. If you're seriously thinking about moving to Minneapolis, or you're already here and considering a move or an upgrade, I'd love to help you through it. The data I'm sharing with you today is just the starting point for making a super smart decision. My contact information information is in the description down below. So reason 2, anchor institutions lock in long-term demand. The University of Minnesota puts about 15,000 new graduates every single year, and around 75% of them, believe it or not, never leave the Twin Cities. This is what creates what I call recession-proof demand. The school actually has about 55,000 students on the Twin Cities campus and runs $1 billion research operation. That's $1 billion with a B. These people aren't just here for 4 years and then gone with the wind. They're putting down roots, starting families, and more importantly, buying homes. Then there's the healthcare powerhouse. The city sits at the center of what is known as Medical Alley, a healthcare cluster with more than 1,000 health and science companies employing 500,000 workers across Minnesota. Healthcare jobs are a huge stabilizer for the metro. Even as the official 2025 numbers are still coming in, the sector has been growing faster than the overall economy for years, with steady demand for outpatient care and specialty clinics. The University of Minnesota Medical School graduates more than 200 physicians every year. More than 70% of those physicians stay in the state for residency and their long-term practice. You're not going to see quick flips here. These buyers are settling into homes they plan to keep for decades. And just wait until you see what's happening with all those empty office buildings downtown. The development story coming up next is going to really surprise you. So unlike the private sector jobs that disappeared during downturns, healthcare and education stayed solid through 2008 and even grew during COVID, believe it or not. So the Mayo Clinic grew its workforce by 9% from 2008 to 2010, while financial services cut 8% of jobs. That's the kind of housing demand that holds up when the economy gets rough. And this professional workforce is exactly what's driving the massive development wave reshaping downtown right now. So reason 3, development is rebuilding the city, not just adding buildings. So empty office buildings are reinventing themselves and becoming residential real estate. That's the development difference you're seeing around here right now. The city isn't tossing up random apartment buildings and hoping that people show up, while also building mixed-use projects that feel like neighborhoods people actually want to live in. Minneapolis now has one of the largest office conversion programs in the entire Midwest. The old Dayton's department store with over 1 million square feet is becoming a mixed-use landmark with office, retail, and a food hall. 150th South 5th Street is a 400,000 square foot office tower that is being converted to 280 apartments. Target's former downtown office space, nearly 1 million square feet, is turning into 500 apartments. These projects will create what I call compound value zones. That's when housing, jobs, parks, retail, and transit all come together in one place. Each improvement makes the next one more valuable. People don't just move in, they stay, invest, and build their lives here. The North Loop is the best example of this. It's grown into the city's top mixed-use neighborhood with over $1 billion in development in recent years. The area is a magnet for residents and businesses alike, with projects like the North Loop Green adding 350 apartments and 35,000 square feet of office space. And then you've got the riverfront, which is creating premium living zones. The Upper Harbor Terminal project is transforming 48 acres of old industrial land into an 8,000-seat amphitheater and 20 acres of public park space by 2027. The Northeast Riverfront River First project is adding 2.5 miles of new trails and 3 public access points along the Mississippi River. So city planning data shows that each of these projects lift nearby property values by 15 to 25% over a 5-year period. period. This is development that builds long-term wealth, not just housing. And all of this smart growth is going on around something most cities can't copy: natural lifestyle infrastructure that money can't buy. So reason number 4, lifestyle infrastructure protects demand. Most cities promise outdoor activities with 22 lakes and lagoons inside the city limits. Minneapolis actually delivers. So you can't replicate this lifestyle in any other city. There are over 180 parks here, 6,800 acres of parkland, and 55 miles of parkways that run straight through everyday life. The chain of lakes, Makasaka, Lake Harriet, Lake of the Isles, and Cedar Lake all connect to one loop that attracts nearly 7 million visitors every year. Where else can you live in a major city and be at the lake within 10 minutes of downtown? And 99% of residents live within a 10-minute walk of a park. The city has a walk score of 71, putting it in the top 100 most walkable large cities in America. The city also ranks number 2 most bikeable large US-based city on the 2025 People for Bikes ranking. We love those bikers. Let's do some pedaling. The Skyway system stretches 8 miles and connects 80 city blocks. You can move around downtown in the winter without ever stepping outside. Surveys of local home buyers show that 34% say access to lakes and trails was the main reason they bought, second only to job location at 41%. Unlike cities where people stay only for work, this place keeps residents even when they change their careers. This kind of lifestyle infrastructure creates demand that is not easily shaken. But what really seals the deal is how much it costs to access all of this. So, reason number 5. Housing is still affordable compared to peer cities. Boston sits in the mid-800s up to the low 900s. Seattle runs in the low 600s with key neighborhoods hitting over $1 million. Minneapolis comes in the mid-300s. We've got economic diversity, anchor institutions, smart development, and lifestyle perks you can't replace. And housing still costs about 30 to 45% less than similar markets. Looking at Redfin and Zillow data from November 2025, here's how the neighborhoods break down. Northeast Minneapolis ranges from the low 300s to the low 400s. The North Loop, which is the top downtown area, runs from the high 400s to the low 600s. Uptown comes in around the mid 400s to the mid 500s. South Minneapolis near Lake Nokomis ranges from the low 300s to the low 400s. Now compare that with other cities. Denver runs from the high 500s to 600s, and Boston still is in the low 800s to high 900s, with key neighborhoods reaching over $1 million. So if you're getting similar wages in healthcare, finance, and tech, but at a huge discount, there's another piece people usually miss, and that's cost predictability. Property taxes here average about 1.25% of your home's value. That works out to roughly $6,000 per year on a typical home. That is significantly lower than Chicago, which is around 2%, and Milwaukee, where effective rates can hit around 2.4%. Home insurance usually runs around $2,000 per year compared to $3,000 to $5,000 in coastal markets dealing with climate issues. One of the 100 biggest U.S. metro areas, the Twin Cities consistently rank well for affordability. And here's the key point. Home values have shown steady stability, avoiding the extreme volatility seen in boom or bust markets. That's reliable growth, not bubble level spikes. Smart money looks for predictive appreciation, with downside protection, especially heading into uncertain times. So Minneapolis is set up to dominate over the next decade. Everything we just covered comes together to create a real opportunity that smart buyers are already starting to notice. If you're thinking about making this your home or upgrading with the market, shoot me an email at team@HHGUS and I'll help you find the right deal based on your needs and priorities. Check the description below for my contact details. And if you live anywhere in Minneapolis in 2026, the video I've linked here breaks down the 5 neighborhoods I'd personally move to if I were starting over, including a lakeside hidden gem that nobody is talking about. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video and the next house.